Now, most successful TV shows, whether they're comedies or dramas, are based around families. And with that, it's a pretty safe bet that plot-wise, the writers of the shows will throw in a father and probably add a pinch of daddy issues to taste. The TV father can be loving, strong, caring, cruel, or all of the above. We're going to give you our top 10 TV dads, but first here's Neil with 10 father facts.
Hi guys, thank you very much. So here we go. Here's some facts about TV fathers. Homer Simpson from The Simpsons was named after Matt Groening's real-life father, Homer Groening.
No!
Philip Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, played by James Avery, was ranked among TV Guide's 50 greatest TV dads of all time.
That's the biggest load of bull I've heard since I left the farm.
Tim Taylor on Home Improvement, played by Tim Allen, was partially based on Allen's own stand-up routines.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it seems like it's always me.
Jim Royal, from the Royal family's famous catchphrase, "My arse," became so iconic that Ricky Tomlinson, who played Jim, released a song with the same name.
Pasta my ass.
Gomez Addams from the Addams Family was one of the first TV dads to openly show affection towards his wife on screen.
When you speak French, it really drives me wild.
Walter White in Breaking Bad, played by Bryan Cranston, started cooking meth for his family, making him probably one of the darkest father figures in TV history.
You're goddamn right.
Peter Griffin from Family Guy is a parody of the bumbling sitcom dad, taking it to absurd extremes.
I don't sound like that at all.
Hugh Dennis, who played Pete in Outnumbered, was a real-life dad himself, and often improvised scenes with the child actors, making the family dynamic feel super real.
He sent me off!
Yes, I did.
Harold Bishop from the Australian soap opera Neighbours, an Aussie dad loved by UK audiences, not technically a UK dad, but so loved was Harold, he was often voted one of Britain's favourite telly dads.
It was an accident.
Thank you very much, guys. Have fun. See you soon.
Thank you very much, Neil. So here we are. We're here to celebrate the television fathers. And now normally our guest is involved in revenge or death, in really bad things. So I'm kind of thinking that that's how our top 10 TV fathers is going to go as well. It's a journalist and all-round wonderful person. Lucy Buglass is with us again. Hello, Lucy.
Hello. Yes, you might be right about that. I have quite the eclectic mix for this one.
I bet you do. I was looking, because I spoke to a few people about this one, and they were everyone that reeled off, they all reeled off sitcom dads. And I kind of thought about it, and I think I've got maybe 2 or 3 sitcom dads in mind, because it actually, when you think about it, like dramas and those kind of TV shows have got such colourful and weird TV fathers. So how did it feel when you were doing your top 10? Did you look at different avenues?
Like I say, very eclectic. I was basically just kind of going off like my personal favourite shows and kind of analysing the father figures that were in them. So, because there's so many.
Yeah.
So, I've kind of gone from, there is a little bit of sitcom in there. There's a little bit of like, darker stuff. So it was interesting. Yeah.
It's also like I've noticed as well, I've realised how little TV I've actually watched. I think I've watched the same stuff over and over again, because there were certain ones in lists that I thought, I haven't even seen that show. I haven't even seen that show. So you kind of, it narrows what you think, what's available, to be honest. But I mean, it's your job to watch stuff, isn't it? So did you come across any ones that you hadn't seen before, or that you thought you hadn't really looked at?
Yeah, there was quite a few, especially US sort of dramas that I hadn't seen that when I was researching this. Most of mine have come from like the UK, or again, things that I love to watch. So even as a TV journalist, there's just so much out there that you just miss things. And I mean, I have my comfort watches, like I'll watch The Office like on repeat, for example, even because after a whole working day of doing new things, you just want to watch something comforting, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, I haven't put it on my top 10, but I need you to give me a ruling on this one, because what would you say, would you have accepted Father Ted?
Yes, as a technicality, sure, why not?
That's because that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's TV Fathers. It's in the title of the show. It's in the title of the episode. And I thought to myself, I don't know. Could you class Father Ted as a TV father? But then you're going through the whole. Every person of the clergy could you then have as I mean, I suppose that could be a whole top 10 itself, couldn't it?
Mm.
Top 10 clergy people or whatever. But I mean, I'll go by your experience and your expertise to say that I could have had that one if I wanted to in my top 10.
On a technicality, why not? You know, I feel like he's not really a father figure, but he's a presence in the community. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can have it.
Exactly. Before we do carry on, we need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa's challenge.
What are you saying?
Okay then, Lucy. Thank you, Lisa, for that. How many do you think we're going to get the same? How many duplicates do you think we're going to have?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe half. You know.
Ooh.
Because if I am allowed to say it, there's quite a lot of the ones that were mentioned in the intro are mine.
Oh, are they really?
So I was kind of sat there going, "Oh yeah." So I do
interesting.
think we will probably have a few like iconic names that pop up. I'm predicting, but
right.
We will see.
Are you going to go for 5? Is that how many
Maybe
you're going to go for?
Straight down the middle, yeah.
Okay, you're going to go for 5. I'm going to go for. I'm going to say 3.
Okay.
I'm going to say 3 because I drastically changed my top 10 yesterday because there were a couple that slipped into my head, and I'm thinking. Okay, and to be fair, if you would class Father Ted as one that I could have had, then a couple of the ones that I was worried about, I'm actually thinking they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. I can have them. Okay, right. I feel like this is going to be quite like I say, an eclectic one. So hit us with your number 10, Lucy.
Okay, number 10 is Pete Brockman from Outnumbered. So he was in the intro. I just think, I mean, I adored Outnumbered. I mean, just the improvisational nature of it is absolutely fantastic. And Hugh Dennis is just a gem, you know, great father figure.
I've never seen an episode.
Oh, wow, really? No, it's
Yeah.
brilliant. I feel like, because I think obviously you age up with the kids as well. Like it's quite a special show. How you see, like, and when they had the Christmas special, was it last year, I think? Yeah. So, you know, they'll sort of go from being toddlers to like older, and it's just very sweet.
How many series was there?
Good question. I can quickly Google that.
Yeah, thank you.
Outcome.
Because it was kind of one of those shows that was always seemed to be always on.
There was 5 seasons in total.
Only 5?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay,
Yeah.
5 seasons, right.
Mm.
And what was that? Was that early 2000s?
Yeah. I mean, it ran from 2007 all the way up to. Love the internet. All the way up to 2014, yeah, and then the Christmas reunion special was recently.
Right.
So,
see, look, so even when you're not working, I'm making you research things for my podcast.
Do you know what? It's just in my head that I have to just be like a second tab always in the corner, being like, right.
That's the best way to be.
It's a great series. Yeah.
So you'd recommend it then? So what kind of comedy would you class it as?
It's just very sort of slice of life, sort of everyday silliness, because obviously the kids don't really have a script. There's like a basic scenario for, I don't know, for example, it's a birthday or something, and then they'll just sort of say whatever comes to mind. You know what I mean? So obviously they've got some kind of level of a script to follow, I believe, but most of it is improvised. So the kids come out with some crackers, yeah.
Oh right, okay.
And obviously Hugh Dennis and oh my gosh, what's her name? His wife. Yeah. Oh dear. Claire Skinner. Yeah. Hugh Dennis and Claire Skinner. Their dynamic was just brilliant.
Right.
They are married in real life as well. So
are they?
Yeah. It's a very special show. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It feels very like natural, if that makes sense. It's very sort of like if you are just slap bang in the middle of a family and you are just watching all this chaos unfold, basically. You know,
I take it none of the kids are theirs, are they?
No,
right.
they're actors.
Okay.
But it's convincing enough that you would think they were, yeah.
Right, okay.
It's a very special show, yeah. I like
you'd recommend it then, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of my, like I was just saying in the intro, like it's one of my like comfort shows that when you want to switch your brain off, you pop it on and it's just good fun.
Okay. I'll add that to the list, as I always do. I mean, the list is like 3 pages, more than 4 pages.
Tell me about
it. Oh my God, it's just too much. There's not enough time. Okay, my number 10. Now, this was one of those ones when I used to watch Happy Days back when I was a kid. Obviously, like most people did. I mean, not. I'm a lot older than you are, but so Howard Cunningham, Tom Bosley, who was the father of the main family in Happy Days, and I always thought that he was ancient. Like, he was an old man when I watched it. He was 47 years old when he started filming Happy Days. So that is 8 years younger than I am now. and I still look at him now and think, my God, he is a middle to old age person in Happy Days. So when I found out that he was 47 years old when he started filming that, I thought to myself, oh my God, it's the way. Now I don't know whether, I mean, that's a 70s 47. Do you know what I mean? So like a 55-year-old in the 70s was more like a 70-year-old today kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was just like gobsmacked when I found that out. Now I don't know, being a young pup like you are, something like Happy Days, has that even been on your radar?
I've never seen. Obviously, I'm aware of what it is, but I've never actually seen it. So you can tell me all about that.
It would be in. Have you ever seen American Graffiti?
No.
Right. Okay. So it's basically set in the 50s.
Okay.
And it's a family, and you must have heard of the Fonz.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that's where the Fonz came from, and
Right.
originally it's where Mork from Mork and Mindy came from, because Mork was like a character that came in.
Oh.
And then they did a spin-off show. They did a spin-off show of Joni Loves Chachi, which is like what the young girl in the family and who she fell in love with. But it was basically all about 50s America, you know, Americana diners and greasers and jocks, and it was just a very American, you know, with I don't think it was canned laughter. It was filmed before a live studio audience and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if Mrs. Cunningham said the word, now what did she say? She didn't say she was horny. What did she say? She used to say frisky. Said, "Oh, I'm feeling frisky," and the crowd would go wild. They'd start screaming and hoopering and hollering. And every time the Fonz went, "Hey," or was cool or something, the crowd went crazy. It's a real moment in time. And so Henry Winkler obviously was the Fonz, and Richie Cunningham was played by Ron Howard, and it was a lot of fun. But you look at it now, and it's obviously a little bit twee and a little bit, you know, it's that kind of thing. I haven't seen it for years, but TV Fathers, Howard Cunningham was like one of the sort of quintessential, him and his wife, quintessential American mum and dad, you know, like apple pie and all of that kind of stuff. So it would really, I mean, not that I want to add to your list, but it'd be really interesting to see someone of your generation to watch just an episode in isolation to see, because they don't make comedy shows like that anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's whether it's the canned laughter or anything, it's what do they call it, like a 3-camera, like Friends and stuff like that. But they don't seem to make sitcoms like that anymore, do they? They're all like 1-camera comedies and stuff. It'd be interesting to see what you thought of something like that. That was a snapshot of what they were making in the 70s, and see if it really does travel through the decades, you know?
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I mean, I was a massive Red Dwarf fan, which did have that sort of like canned laughter sort of approach. You know, obviously, it's a very different show, but like I know exactly what you mean when it's that kind of like the audience interaction and stuff. Like it's, I'll give it a go. Why not?
Yeah. I'd be fascinated to hear what you think. Whether you'd even last, I don't know, 5 minutes into it. It'd be very, very interesting. Okay, your number 9 then, please, Lucy.
And number 9 is actually behind you. It's the Mandalorian from The Mandalorian.
That's my number 8. That's my number 8. Had to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, he's the dad that stepped up, isn't he? And I mean, you know, Pedro Pascal is fantastic, and Grogu is just delightful. It's a lovely series, isn't it? It's
the Wolf and Cub. That's
sweet.
what it is, isn't it? It's the Wolf and Cub. Oh,
and just so iconic at this point. I mean, you went to Disney World last time we spoke. I mean, I think you went. And obviously to see him like walking around the park and stuff, like with like Grogu in his belt, like it's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just such an iconic symbol now, isn't he?
I got a picture with him. Got a picture with him. It's one of my, of all the times I've been to Disney and stuff, that was the moment, because he picks you. You can't just line up for a photo.
Yeah.
I had my Mandalorian shirt on. I showed him my Mandalorian tattoo, and he stopped there and looked at me and tilted his head. and then just beckoned me to him, and I was like a little kid again. It was just wonderful. But it's a great character and a great series. I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, we've all seen the bounty hunter, and we've all seen the kind of person who gets like lumped with whether it's a human baby, an alien baby, or an animal or something, and they have to sort of protect it and mother or father it. It's a really fun trope. And I think The Mandalorian did it very well. Going from what is essentially cargo to someone that he really cares about. It's very sweet. I mean, that scene with Luke is when he takes his helmet off and he touches his face. It's like, yeah, cry every time.
So good. It is so good, and it feels to me that as that storyline and that relationship gets further and further, and Grogu gets more powerful, it feels like the dynamic's going to change a little bit, because once Grogu gets to a certain powerfulness, he's going to be looking after the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So like the roles are going to reverse, and obviously the movie will be coming out, I think, as we're recording this, is a year yesterday is when the movie comes out.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that'll be great to see him on the big screen. But well, we've got our first duplicate. There you go. That's your number 9, and that's my number 8. Okay. My number 9 is somebody that in the series wasn't a dad for very long, in regards to the fact that he became a father it was either the last series or the penultimate series. But I'm going for Ron Swanson in Parks and Recreation.
Great choice, yeah.
And the one thing, if you've never seen Parks and Recreation, find it, because if you love the US Office, it is very much in that vein. But I think the characters, and Ron Swanson himself is just a genius of a character, and he doesn't change when he becomes a father either. He is very matter of fact. He is very just on point with everything, and I was going to say there's no emotion there. There is emotion, because he loves the things he loves, and he loves the people that he loves, and he'll protect them with his life. And seeing him as a dad is just a beautiful thing, because he isn't outwardly emotional, but like I say, he's a bit like the Mandalorian. He will protect what he loves, and it's just beautiful to see. It is just like I say, it's hard to explain it unless you actually see Ron Swanson. Even if you just go to YouTube and put in Ron Swanson's best bits, and you see the man, and he is just great.
I mean, Nick Offerman's just fantastic in everything he does, but especially here. And I think, like you say, he embodies all these like natural dad traits, like barbecuing and sort of like, woodworking, and very manual, very like of the land kind of person. Do you know what I mean? And he has a very, very funny personality. I mean, there's some hilarious scenes, like you say, just watch compilations and you'll get a good laugh out of it. Like the one where he chucks his computer in the bin.
Because they know his address.
His name on it. He's like, what? Yeah.
He thinks that's what's going to protect him by just throwing the whole computer in the bin.
Yeah.
Yes, and the fact that he'll even go to a strip club because it just gives out all-day brunches or all-day breakfasts. He is all about the steak and bacon, and bacon-wrapped shrimp was his favourite food. Or it's number 1 and number 3 favourite foods wrapped together, I think is what the line was.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Okay, that's my number 9. So your number 8 then, please, Lucy.
The number 8 does lead me into the Office US. It's Jim Halpert from The Office. So he goes on to have 2 children through the course of his trajectory. Have you seen The Office US?
I have. I love that. I prefer that one to the original.
Same. I mean, we're probably going to get crucified as 2 Brits saying that, but the US did do that better than us. And obviously, it's not about the romance, so I'll just kind of quickly go over that. But obviously, Jim and Pam and them getting together, and sort of the payoff, and how they find out she's pregnant is very sweet. I feel like that entire storyline is just very nice to watch, and I think that the kids' little cameos are nice as well. He's just a great character. I love him. I love John Krasinski anyway. I think he's great. But yeah,
it's. I think the fact that they had like 20 or 22 episodes in a season. I've said this before, like the British Office is great, but there's only 6 episodes, and you don't really get to know the characters that well. Whereas you fall in love with, obviously it's the same as Tim and Dawn. You want them to be together from the start. And when they are together, they're just glorious together, Pam and Jim. And the fact that I think I've said this before as well. I think with David Brent is that he doesn't care about who he's working with. He just wants to be famous.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael Scott loves the people that he works with, you know, and he doesn't care about the fame. He just cares about having a family and friends and people that love him. And it's so heartbreaking because he is a dick. You know, he is an idiot.
Oh, he is, absolutely, yeah.
You know, but I don't think he's an idiot with a cruel heart, whereas I think David Brent is. David Brent will throw everybody under the bus if it means that he could get 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael Scott will do anything for the people that work at Dunder Mifflin, you know?
Yeah,
and I think it's but he sometimes does really stupid things and says really stupid things.
Yeah.
And also, but I think Jim and Pam, that whole love story,
yeah,
like when they're not together and then they kiss and you think, oh my God, she's going to say, yeah, I'm going to, and then she doesn't. And, and then he goes off with other people and the timing is never quite right. And I always thought it was going to be a really big thing when they got together, but it was a beautiful moment when she's doing that head to head and he just comes in and goes, oh, do you want to have dinner? And she goes, yeah, okay. And it was just like a throwaway thing, you know, and it's just beautiful. It is. And I didn't even think of him as a dad, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Because we recently watched so that the later seasons when he does have his two children and they do appear a bit more, like they'll come in for like Dwight's family photo day and that's silly episode, and like the one where like he's in Philadelphia and Pam's really stressed, for example, you know, and obviously it does show him his flaws as well.
Yeah.
As a father, because I think obviously Jim is funny and he cares and stuff, but he really gets in his head sometimes as well. And I like the fact that it shows Pam's struggles and how Jim's being a little bit selfish. It's just a great show, you know.
Yeah, no, it is. It is, absolutely. That's a great one. That was your number 8. So my number 8 was The Mandalorian. So we've already spoken about that. So on to your number 7 then, please, Lucy.
Okay, so my number 7 is, again, it's a dad that stepped up. It's Hopper from Stranger Things.
That's my number 7.
I told you
That's
we'd have
my
clashes.
number 7.
Oh,
wow.
Brilliant. We've got good taste.
We have, indeed.
Yeah. But no, isn't he wonderful, David Harbour? You know, he's just excellent, I think. And again, it's a lot like Ron Swanson, his sort of journey, because he was just a cynical old man when we first met him, really. And then obviously he becomes really protective of Eleven. And it's just really nice.
I agree. And it's a great arc as well, because he goes through so much shit. You know, being sent away and really having to fight, and all the time, again, a little bit like The Mandalorian as well, where the person that he loves and wants to care for is getting more and more powerful. You know, it's to the point that he's not going to be able to do anything to protect her, really. And it's just all he can do is just like love her and be there for her. But I'm really looking forward. I'm fascinated to see what they do with this next series, because I'm assuming it's supposed to just follow on from the series before, but they're all going to look so much older.
I know, it's been such a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Maybe a time jump? That fixes everything.
It has to, but the way that the series ended, the way that the last series, if I remember correctly, they're all looking out over, I can't remember the name of the town now.
Hawkins?
They're looking out over there, and then like the monsters come in, and it's thunder and lightning, and Will's got blood coming out of his nose, and you think, well, that's not what the hell's going on there. You would think it'd be following on straight away from that. So again, fascinated to see what they do.
Likewise. They're going to have to sort of shimmy it along a little bit. I just don't know how, but
and this is the last series, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's one of those rare series where I think it's got better with each season.
Yeah. We actually saw the stage play recently, which is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, did you?
So atmospheric, yeah. It's brilliant.
And where does that fall on the timeline?
So it's basically it's Vecna's origin story, essentially.
Oh, right.
So it's back when what is it? Is it Henry Creel? Is that his name?
I think so.
Yeah. So it's basically Henry Creel's sort of discovery that he can do all these things, and his eventual sort of transformation into Vecna. It's
and is that official? Is that like an official show, or is that just fans have done that?
Because Netflix has it on there. You can watch the making of on their on Netflix. So they must endorse it, you know.
They must do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember the plot now, because obviously I saw it a couple of years back. But yeah, it was great. Really, really good.
Okay. It's just more things to try and because you
This is
want
it.
to know everything as you're going into it, don't you? And if there's these little bits, and that's why with like Star Wars, when they used to keep bringing out books and stuff, and you think,
Oh,
oh
I
my
know.
God, I've not got the time to keep all of this in, so I know what's going on.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
I worry sometimes when I'm like on podcasts like this, especially if I talk about Marvel or something, because it's just so big. So if I ever get anything wrong, it's like, I do apologize, but it's just such a big timeline, you know?
And it becomes, but it does become impossible to
Mm.
cover everything. Like I can imagine in the job that you've got. I mean, when you have the job that you've got, are you just concentrating on a certain part of the fandom of a certain thing, or is whatever story comes up?
It's whatever story comes up, yeah. I mean, obviously, with me on Tech Radar, it's mostly the streaming services, so it's basically the big ones, so like Disney Plus, Netflix, Prime Video. So it's basically just sort of keeping people in the loop about where to watch them, because they move constantly. You know, like people will buy them and they'll move, and they'll get. There's so many streaming services now. Even as a TV journalist, there's just too many. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like there's everything plus these days. So
I
it's
watched.
basically just try to simplify things, basically. Yeah.
I watched three. I was off work today, and I watched three films today, and I think it's the most varied three films I've ever watched in my life. Okay,
Go on.
I started the day with Pig, the Nick Cage movie.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I'd never seen it before, and Neil and I are doing top 10 Nick Cage movies next week. We're
Yeah.
recording that, and absolutely loved it.
Mm.
Okay, because I read the synopsis of it, a very short synopsis, and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be like John Wick, but with a pig. Is Nick Cage going batshit crazy, killing everybody because he wants to find his pig. And it was a million miles away from that. It was a beautiful, beautiful movie with Nick Cage at the top of his game. Probably my second or third favorite Nick Cage movie of all time. So it was, I really enjoyed it. So then myself and my wife watched The Wild Robot.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh my
sweet.
God, I was like in tears. It's an
You've gone on
absolute.
such a journey already. Like,
It was such a beautiful film, and the animation was amazing. A different style of animation, but gorgeous.
yeah.
And then I finished with Sasquatch Sunset.
Okay, that's the only one I haven't heard of. All right.
If you not, oh my God.
I did not.
So it stars Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay, great.
Okay, but you would not know it because it's basically the story of four Sasquatches in the deep forest. There is no dialogue. It's just ooh, ooh, ee, ooh, like that. It has them shagging. It has them pissing and shitting everywhere. It has them. It is an hour and a half of one of the most bizarre movies I think I've ever seen. And there were moments when I thought, nah, I'm just going to turn it off now. But it kept me enthralled for an hour and a half. So if you get a chance, it's on. I think I saw it on Sky. It was on Sky.
Okay.
And it is weird. You don't know it's Jesse Eisenberg because obviously they're all dressed up as there's a mum and dad Sasquatch and then two kids. Like one who I think is an older kid and one who's like a smaller kid. And it's just crazy. It is a crazy, crazy movie. Not crazy in the fact they're doing crazy things. It's just showing them living their life, basically. It's almost like a documentary showing these four Sasquatches, or whatever the plural of Sasquatch is. Sasquatch? I don't know. What would the plural of must be Sasquatches, is it?
That's the one that makes the most sense, you know?
Yeah, we'll go with Sasquatches.
That'll do.
That'll do. I'm too tired to worry about it and too traumatized by all of the...
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, you had quite the day there. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I've had such a thing where the needle has moved so much in one day on movies and on three movies. But I would recommend it.
Okay.
Maybe not as much as Happy Days, but I'd still recommend Sasquatch Sunset. Okay, so that was both of our number 7s. So on to you for your number 6 then, please.
Okay, number 6 it's from a kid's show. It's Bandit Healer from Bluey.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I love Bluey. I am 30 years old in July, and I still love Bluey. I don't care. You know, I think it's a great little show to just stick on and just enjoy, you know. And I think Bandit, you know, if we're going to get serious about it, is a very lovely role model for kids and stuff. You know, I think he's just such an enthusiastic, funny, really like dedicated dad figure, you know, and I just think it's very sweet for kids to watch that. And I think he's got some cracking one-liners and stuff. It's just a great show. Yeah.
I watched it for the first time a couple of weeks ago, because we babysat our grandkids, and they had just had it on a loop. And what was there was one thing that the dad said that I absolutely pissed myself laughing. I can't remember what it is now. Is it something about fish? Oh, I don't know. But I just thought to myself, it seemed almost a little bit rude what he was shouting. And I feel like the next hour I just kept shouting it out, and I honestly can't remember what it was. But it does seem like it works on a lot of different levels, Bluey.
Yeah, I think Bandit has a lot of little one-liners like that, where he tries to censor himself. So he'll say like cheese and crackers is one of them that he says instead of swearing. And you know, it's an Australian show, so it's very embedded in like Australian culture. So like he loves the cricket. He gets very annoyed if you turn the cricket off, you know, and it's just little things like that. And I just think it's very sweet because he just, you know, he loves his wife, loves his kids, is a little sarcastic and funny, but he's just got a lot of heart, you know. It's a lovely little show.
Yeah, and not long ago it was going viral, wasn't it? Because it was when they moved house, or they were going to move house.
Oh yeah, they did an episode about moving house, and just obviously how sad that can be. And you know, it's difficult to talk about these topics with kids. You know, we're leaving now.
Yeah.
And you know, I would recommend watching it because it's very short episodes, but it's just nice. And I feel like there's always a moral for like children at the end of these sort of. There's a one about like oh gosh, what is it? There's definitely a one about like new babies and stuff, you know, like little things like that, you know, like things that kids would just have to get used to, and like new things, and it's just very nice. Yeah,
it's definitely what I'd never seen it before, and I was fascinated because I thought, okay, let's have a look and see what the fuss is about, if you like. And it's definitely the thing for kids at the moment, isn't it? So it seems to go on to a new thing every so often, but that is definitely the flavour of the month.
And I mean, thankfully for parents, it's actually not annoying as well. It's actually quite tolerable.
That's right. Absolutely.
That, right?
Yeah, it's something that you can at least sit and watch a little bit rather than just some of the stuff that the kids, but then it's not for us, is it, I suppose?
Well, no, of course.
That's a great one. That's your number 6. My number 6, now I'm going for another one where it's more of a different meaning of father. But I'm going for Luthen Rail from Andor. Now, I don't know if you've seen Andor. Yes. I put him down that he's the father of the rebellion against the Empire. Andor Series 2 is one of the greatest series of TV, not just Star Wars TV, I think I've ever seen. I thought it was absolutely just perfectly done. 3 episodes per year, released every Wednesday. It was just great. And the last 3 episodes, some of the best television I've ever seen. Absolutely great. And Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen Rail was just heartbreaking. The fact that this is a man that has given up his life to put something in place that he's not going to see the fruits of his labours, you know, and it's just fantastic. Were you a fan of Andor?
So I've seen the first season. My boyfriend absolutely loves Andor. We do need to watch season 2 at some point. We're the kind of like that couple that likes to wait a few weeks and just binge it. Right. So we have been very patiently waiting. We're going to have a weekend to do it. But I loved the first season. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I won't spoil anything then in regards to what happens in the story.
I mean, I naturally see things at work, but yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, the thing about Rogue One was great because you can watch the last 20 minutes of Rogue One, then go straight into A New Hope, and it's like it's the same movie. So the last sort of 10 minutes of the last episode basically does the same thing for Rogue One. You can watch that, and I did that, and then I watched Rogue One, and it just rolls into it, and it's just fantastic. It is so good. So I'm going to have him as the father of the rebellion, Luthen Rail from Andor at number 6. So we're halfway through. So it's time for this.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
It's time for the quiz, Lucy. Are you ready? So turn your Google off.
Ready as I'll ever be. Okay, I'm turning it off. There we go.
Right, what I'm going to give you is the names of members of a family, and you need to tell me who the dad is.
Okay.
From specific TV shows. Okay?
Okay.
So here's number 1. Denise, Anthony, and Barbara.
That one I don't know.
Are you sure?
I am sure I don't know. I don't think.
Way wrong answer!
And the dad is Jim Royal from the Royal
Oh,
Family.
the Royal Family. I haven't watched a lot of the Royal Family at all, really.
Have you not? Have you not?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the issue.
Number 2, Meadow, Anthony, and Carmela.
Oh, that's The Sopranos.
All right, all right, all right.
Well done. Number 3, Richie, Joni, and Marion.
Richard, Joey, and Marion. Oh God, why does that ring a bell? Oh God. Oh yeah, I know Richie.
Richie, Joni,
Mhm.
and Marion.
Oh no, I can't remember. You're gonna have to just tell me.
It might ring a bell because I mentioned it at the very start of the podcast. That's Howard Cunningham from Happy Days.
I knew Richie. I don't know why. I just knew
Richie, Joni, because it was Joni Loves Chachi was the thing, and Marion was Mrs. Cunningham. Number 4, Jamie, Beth, Casey, and Evelyn. Jamie, Beth, Casey, and Evelyn.
Don't know. This isn't going well. I don't know that one either, you know. I might when you tell me.
Way wrong answer.
The father is John Dutton from Yellowstone.
Never seen Yellowstone either.
Never seen Yellowstone.
And you're just shooting me off the podcast now. You're like, get out.
Oh, you have to watch Yellowstone.
You know what? It's on my list in my defense.
Yeah, absolutely. No, please. I totally understand. Number 5,
Yeah.
Kelly, Bud, and Peg.
God. Don't know that one. This is going brilliantly.
Way wrong answer.
And the dad is Al Bundy from Married with Children.
No, I haven't seen that either, you know.
Okay.
I'll watch this now.
Number 6, Rod, Todd, and Maud.
Oh, that's easy. The Simpsons. Yeah, that's Ned Flanders.
All right, all right.
That
all
is
right.
Ned Flanders. Well done. Okay, number 7, Connor, Kendall, Sheev, Roman, and Marcy.
That's Succession, Logan Roy.
Well done.
All right, all right, all right.
Okay, we're getting the points on the board now. David, Alexis, and Moira.
Schitt's Creek. And I can't remember the name of the dad, annoyingly.
I'm going to give you a point for that because
All right,
all
all right.
I never
all
wrote
right.
Schitt's Creek on here. I've just got Johnny Rose, and I couldn't remember who it was until you said Schitt's
Eugene
Creek.
Levy. I know the actor. There you go.
If you hadn't have said that, I'd have been stuck because I wouldn't have known what the answer was. So well done. Thank you for that.
There we go.
Number 9, Meg, Chris, Stewie, and Lois.
That's Family Guy, Peter Griffin.
All right, all right, all right.
It is. And the final one, I've done it again. Adam, Johnny, and Jackie. Oh, I know. Adam, Johnny, and Jackie.
Adam, Johnny, and Jackie. Oh, Friday Night Dinner, Martin Goodman.
All right, all
Not
right,
that-
all
there
Well
we go. I picked it up in the
done.
end. There we go.
You did 6 out of 10 is not bad, considering you
That's
had
all
a
right.
sort of like a ropey start. But
Yeah,
6 out of
because
10, well done.
the ones, the ones I got wrong were the ones that I've never actually seen before, so I can forgive myself. That's
I
fine.
think you absolutely can. That's a very, very good score. So well done for that. Well done. Okay, back to the job in hand. So your number 5 then, please.
Number 5 is we're getting into my sort of dark era now.
Here we
So
go.
it's Walter White, Breaking Bad.
That's my number 4. That's
Yeah.
my number 4, yes.
I mean, yeah, like Walter White's trajectory is just crazy. I mean, you know, you go from season 1 where you do feel quite a lot of empathy for him, and then it just goes completely off the rails. It's an excellent character, and it's obviously one of Bryan Cranston's finest performances. So yeah, just excellent stuff.
Yeah, he is the quintessential sort of dad gone bad, really.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing everything that he thinks for correctly and rightly for his family, but he gets what's the word? He just gets sucked into the lie, doesn't he? And he loves being Heisenberg.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's a very transformative role in the sense that there's not really much of the sort of struggling science teacher left by the end of it. You know what I mean? He's just completely gone. And I think a lot of his decisions are incredibly shocking based on that. And I think, you know, if, you know, people had known Walter White, for example, and then they heard of the stuff that he'd done, they would just be absolutely outraged by it, because it's just like, it's like Jekyll and Hyde effect almost, you know, two completely different people. But yeah, it's a great series.
As a five season series, do you think it's one of, if not the, like, best arcs of a whole, like, series? I don't think there's a because a lot of series sometimes have third season's not quite so good, but then they rally. It seems to be just constantly great all the way through.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job with the pacing, and I think, I mean, I don't know if they always intended it to be that many seasons, but it definitely feels that way. It's very sort of just tight and well done, and the pacing is excellent. Like I say, the difference from and they've just connected it so well, like the bacon on his birthday kind of connections between seasons, for example. That's an obscure one, I appreciate that, but like it's kind of just, it's very clever and it's very just well put together as a show. It's just great, isn't it?
Yeah. I've still not watched all of Better Call Saul though. Did you watch all of that?
No, I didn't either. I don't know, I feel like I'm just worried it won't be as good, which is a terrible thing to say. But like, I just feel like Breaking Bad was so good that I'm just kind of like, I'm a bit nervous about watching it, but maybe I will.
But I class it as a perfect thing, and like you say, I wouldn't want to do anything that. Well, I mean, it never changed for me that it's not great, because was it the El Camino, the like they did that one-off special as well, didn't they, at the end? And that was pretty good, and it didn't really ruin Breaking Bad for me is one of the greatest TV shows ever done. It's just from top to bottom, from start to finish, and that's why Walter White is my number 4, because it felt like he had to be in there as a dad, good or bad. Whether he definitely starts out with the best intentions, but like you say, he just gets taken over in the end, doesn't he? More than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your number 5. My number 5, this was a late entry into my top 10 because I just thought about him. But I'm going for Eddie Miller from Adolescence, Stephen Graham.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, God, what a show.
Absolutely broke me, this. As a father of a 22, 23-year-old son, I know he's a little bit older than the people in the show. It just... the final scene where Stephen Graham breaks down was just, I was in pieces, and the way that the whole show was shot, just in like one continuous take, amazing. Just an amazing piece of drama. What did you think?
Oh, it's outstanding, and I feel like the beauty of it is the fact that, like, from the get-go that he's guilty, right?
Yeah.
But it's Stephen Graham's character not wanting to believe that's the captivating part of it, because I just feel like that's so realistic. You would not be able to believe that your child could do that. Do you know what I mean?
Every dad would do exactly the same thing.
Absolutely.
Exactly the same thing.
Stephen Graham is just absolutely incredible at crafting these narratives that are incredibly sort of, you could relate to that inner turmoil. Do you know what I mean? He just does it in such a raw and realistic way that I feel like, if you go, oh, what would I do? You would probably do exactly what he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same with like him in Boiling Point and him in like Help with Jodie Comer. Like, he's just so good at these things. And I know it's an excellent show. I feel like, I needed a bit of a lie down afterwards because I binge watched it, which was a dangerous thing to do because it's heavy.
It is very heavy.
But it was just such an interesting watch. And I feel like even that last episode when they're just in the van together, just talking for a bit. And when he calls from the prison to kind of basically confirm the worst possible thing and just ruin on his birthday. Do you know what I mean? It's so bleak. It's so bleak, but it's wonderfully done. And like you say, that final shot is just not a dry eye in the house,
Oh, it's crazy.
It's horrendous.
Yeah, and it's like it shows that like there's not just one victim in this. It's not the victim that got killed. It's like his son's whole family, their whole lives are just wrecked by it. And the fact that they want to fight it, and then he comes down and says, "No, I'm going to plead guilty." It's just another massive kick in the teeth, and it's just. I'm not normally one to watch those kind of things, and my wife devours those kind of. Detective dramas and police dramas, and I only sat down and started watching it because I was fascinated with the fact that it was like one long take, and I was like, Hollywood do it all the time, don't they? And they'll have somebody with a dark shirt pass over, and that's where they do a quick cut, or a door will close and then it'll open. And I was looking, and I kept going, they haven't done a cut yet. And then my wife said, oh no, this is all like one take. And so I was fascinated just looking how, especially the school episode.
Oh, the window scene, yeah.
But you've got hundreds of people walking around. And if somebody gets it wrong, they've got to start all over again. And it's an amazing feat. It's an amazing piece of drama. But I felt
great, man. Never even considered that. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, had to go in there. Okay, your number 4 then, please.
Continuing on the bleak trajectory, it's Tony Soprano in The Sopranos because, just iconic.
And here's the thing. I've never seen an episode of The Sopranos. I've never seen an episode.
Oh, it's just that sort of iconic HBO big budget drama, mafia stuff, like the kind of patriarchal themes and stuff. I mean, I was torn between him and Logan Roy because obviously he's brilliant. When I was doing my list, Logan Roy doesn't appear, which is why I brought him up. But it's just that this sort of toxic father figure, in a sort of, whether it's organized crime or whether it's a sort of cutthroat business syndicate, whatever it is, it's just, he's just a toxic individual. Do you know what I mean? Like, and there's questions around the morality. How much does he love his family? Does he love his wife? All these questions regarding his morality as a father figure. But it's a great, and I mean, I would recommend you watch it, but it's a long one. I think there's like a lot of seasons, basically.
Yeah, because I think there's like 20 episodes in it, or maybe like that, but there's like 9 seasons, 10 seasons, maybe.
It's quite a lot. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while, but obviously it's just so iconic. And he's just a great central performance. We had to go on there, which is a no-brainer.
So I have seen like the final scene, because that had a lot of controversy about it, didn't it? About the fact it's quite ambiguous about the ending. Does he get killed, or does he not? What is your thesis on it? What is your thought? Does he get killed at the end?
I would like to say yes,
Right.
and I feel like it's because of the same reason with like Walter White, for example. He dies, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's some tragedy in the fact that you followed this man and all the things that he's done in his family, and he's so iconic. Just to kill him off at the end, there's just something really poignant about that. It's almost like it's a completed arc. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you followed him to do all this stuff, and then in the final moments or wherever it happens in any show, like if you kill off the protagonist, it's just such a bold thing to do, and I think it's brilliant. So in my mind, yes, because I like a bit of bleakness, me.
Well, I do, and it kind of feels like bad things should happen to bad people.
Yeah, that too. I mean,
they're anti-heroes, aren't they? More than anything, maybe not even. That's being very generous, I think, because he's a gangster, isn't he? And
I think Walter White, probably I'm a bit more sympathetic towards him than I am to Tony Soprano, because I feel like Walter White, had he not got the cancer, what would have happened to him? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Tony Soprano is actively deciding to do all these things because he enjoys the power and he enjoys the status and he enjoys the life that he's built for himself. But obviously, there's a bit more to him than that, and you see him sort of like in therapy sessions and stuff. Like, it's a fascinating show. It's funny in places too. Like it's great. It's just such a great show.
It's really is one of those. Yeah, it's really one of those ones I'd love to go, but I know that I just haven't got the. Just haven't got. If I, not that I want to do it, touch wood or anything, but if I broke my leg and like you were, hospital bound, or you were bed bound for like 3. What you really want is another like going to quarantine, don't you? That's what you want.
Yeah,
you want another shutdown,
so
that there's nothing. You're not allowed out of your house for like 6 weeks. Right? Let's just binge The Sopranos.
Yes.
But I don't wish that on anybody. I don't want that to happen again.
No,
so my number 4 was Walter White from Breaking Bad. So back to you then, Lucy, for your number 3.
Number 3, he was in the intro again. It's Gomez Adams. I just love Gomez Adams.
Oh, right, Gomez Adams.
From the 60s show, but obviously Gomez as a sort of entire entity in any form I love. And again, it's like what we were saying in the intro. It's like he just loves his family, loves his wife, and it's just lovely to see a healthy relationship on screen. He adores his family. It's everything to him. And he's just so eccentric.
He loves his wife with a passion, is what he loves.
And then some, yeah.
And
he adores that woman, yeah. And it's great. I mean, for the lover of the Gothic as well, I just love the sort of the things he comes out with and all the sort of phrases about how much he loves her. And what is it like? I would this is a famous quote of his. It's something along the lines of how he would live for her and he would die for her either way. What bliss or something, because he just loves her so deeply. Do you know what I mean? It's just fun, and it's just again theatrical and eccentric and just very unique, and yeah, just a brilliant character.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can remember. I would have been reruns. I'm not that old, but that was one of my favourite shows growing up because it, especially with like Lurch and the Thing, the hand just going around and yeah, Uncle Fester. It was one of those great 50s or 60s comedy shows.
I think it was the 60s.
I think it was 60s, but yeah. But you had that, and then you also had what was it? What was the other one? The Munsters.
Yeah.
The Munsters with Herman Munster and that. Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. That is a great one. Okay, my number 3. I'm going comedy route again from Arrested Development. Now I could have chosen any fathers from Arrested Development, but I'm going for Tobias Funke.
Oh my God, brilliant! Yes.
Because if there is anyone that is more misunderstood than Tobias, it's him. I mean, he's a never nude to start with. He always has to have his cut off jeans on under anything that he's wearing. David Cross is just and again, Arrested Development is one of those shows that a lot of people have never heard of, but it is one of the cleverest and stupidest and funniest TV shows I think I've ever seen. You know, Jason Bateman, Will Arnett. It's just got an amazing cast with just some of the funniest and, like I say, cleverest callbacks to jokes that you'll see. And David Cross as Tobias is great because even he sometimes forgets that he's a father. That's the thing. He's got him and his wife have got a daughter called Maybe, and it is just hilarious. And you grow up with her, well, the 2 kids, because you got Michael Cera as George Michael.
George Michael. Oh, I love this.
And it's all about the Bluth family, and they are just as messed up as you can get as a family. And I think it's on Netflix, isn't it? I think it's still on Netflix. Just go and watch it because it is just hilarious, and I would thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, if you want dysfunctional family, it's fantastic. Because you cannot get more dysfunctional than that.
So good. I mean, I could have chosen George Senior. Who's like always in jail, and he's got a twin brother, and they're always like swapping places, but they're not meant to a lot of the times. I could have chosen Michael Bluth, who's Jason Bateman, who again is trying his best, but seems to always fail. But yeah, I went for Tobias. He's just so good. That's my number 3. So your number 2, please, Lucy.
Number 2 is Homer Simpson. From
That's my number 2.
There we go. I told you. But yeah, you know what? Homer is just obviously absolutely iconic. But, you know, again, he's just trying his best, isn't he? Because he's just...
Yeah.
He has the best intentions, and I fully believe that. I mean, there's some incredibly tender scenes with him. You know, I feel like, you know, obviously when Maggie arrives and he gives up his dream job, for example.
Yeah.
And, you know, when he's trying to bond with Lisa, even though she's, you know, I think it's the museum episode when obviously she's very into like the museum and stuff, and he's not really, and he's just trying his best, you know. And even though Bart is a pain in the arse, like, you know, he loves that. He loves his whole family. He does embody some of the sort of more negative stereotypes of a dad, I suppose, but he's just brilliant, you know.
I think he's one of the most sort of real depictions of a dad on any kind of whether it's drama or comedy, because like you say, he tries his best all the time, and I think he always has good intentions, but he's also has weaknesses, you know, like everybody, I say human. He is a human, just yellow with a massive overbite, but he's but but then if you compare him to say someone like Ned Flanders, who is kind of the same. He's a good dad, but he's religious like through and through. I always remember the scene when or the episode when Homer decides to stay home on a Sunday when everyone else has gone to church. So he's there in his underpants and he's turned the heating right up, and everyone has a go at him. And I think even God speaks to him and he says, you know, I'm a good dad. I look after my family. Why do I have to go and, you know, praise you on the one day that I have off when I can just be at home in the, and he's quite right. You can do it
Yeah.
from home. Why have you got to go somewhere and be cold and bored? You just stay in your underpants and eat waffle runoff from the waffle machine.
Oh yeah, I mean, we could do an entire podcast about The Simpsons and how
Oh, I
brilliant.
mean,
I mean, like,
we have done entire
oh,
episodes about The
I bet
Simpsons.
you have, yeah. But yeah, and like you say, even Ned Flanders, like he's the opposite of Homer, but he's got flaws too. Like, let those kids
Indeed.
live. Come on, like
Indeed.
give them a life.
That's the thing, and I think that's the beauty of it, is that the one thing about the Simpsons is that nobody is perfect. And that's absolutely true of human life. Nobody is perfect. Everybody has flaws. And sometimes that's the thing that we celebrate, is that we see the flaws in people. And poor Homer will try his hardest to do the right thing, and he'll always end up on his ass. So I think that's the best thing. But he picks himself up and will still look after his family. So yeah, Do It For Her was on that picture for it wasn't Lisa, was it? For Maggie. When Maggie turned up, that was beautiful.
One of my favorite episodes, that one. Like beautiful I say, when he has to give up that job at the bowling alley and go back to the horrible power plant, and he's doing it for his kid.
Yeah.
He
walks through the acid rain and his bowling jacket just like disintegrates.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
So good. Okay, we've reached number 1. So, Lucy, what is your number 1?
And again, he has been mentioned. It's Martin Goodman from Friday Night Dinner, because
okay.
Paul Ritter, rest his soul, was just absolutely brilliant, in everything that he did. And I feel like Martin Goodman is just, everyone can relate to Martin Goodman's depiction of a dad. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's always like mishearing things, and he's always got his top off, and he's always just tinkering around with random bits and bobs and just being like weird. Do you know what I mean? And we all know a relative a bit like that, and I just think he's hilarious, and loves his wife, loves his kids, even though they piss him off. He's just brilliant.
See, I'm going to be the same as Outnumbered. I've never watched an episode of Friday Night
Dinners. It's great. Yeah, I mean, I was watching it today, actually. It's great background noise when I'm doing, like, just work and stuff. Because it's very formulaic. It's one of those sitcoms where you kind of know what's coming, but it's just brilliant. And obviously it's, Jewish family having a weekly, not religious, because they're not really, but casual Friday night dinner, then they're trying to just, like, have a, the 2 adult sons come around, they try to have a dinner, and then obviously bad things happen and funny things happen, and the neighbor comes and he starts being weird. That's Mark Heap, who's always playing a weird guy.
Always great. He's always great, Mark Heap, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Paul Ritter is just so great, and Martin Goodman is a comfort character of mine, because he's just so, like, silly and eccentric, but he has a good heart at the core of it, and I think that's my favorite sort of kind of father depiction, would be someone who is a little bit silly and a little bit eccentric, but they have very good intentions.
It's going to be a stupid question. Does that mean that every episode is set on a Friday night?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the sort of the setup is always the 2 boys coming to the parents' house for dinner.
Right.
And then, various things will happen. Like I say, like the neighbor will come around and start being weird, or the obnoxious auntie will come around and have a crisis or something. Do you know what I mean? It's very like very one location most of the time. They might go off to, like, the pub or something in the background, but, like, it's mostly in the house, and it's just simple but brilliant. Really great.
And it's more of an adult thing. It's got swearing and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I will give that one a try, because so many people have said to me how good it is, and I need to give that one a try. And that's your number 1. Okay, my number 1, I have mentioned him, and unfortunately, we haven't. Neither of us have won Lisa's challenge. You said 5, I said 3, so we finished with 4. Because mine, I'm going for 1, and it's a show you should watch, and I'm gone for John Dutton from Yellowstone.
Right.
Because it's Kevin Costner, so of course anything that Kevin Costner does, I love. But he's one of those guys that you know what Yellowstone is about. Or,
yeah, like I've seen it, like, just like in passing.
Yeah, modern day sort of cowboy thing set in Wyoming, I think it's set in. But John Dutton is the head of the family where they've got this Yellowstone ranch, and people are trying to move in, and they're trying to make airports off of his land, and it all gets political, but it's also very violent as well. And some of it sometimes gets a little bit too over the top, and you think, well, in real world that would never happen. People fighting people with automatic machine guns and that, and just walking into a store. I suppose in America sometimes they do that, but
yeah.
But John Dutton is one of those people that, you know, he loves his family. He loves what is his land. He will protect it at all costs. The people that work for him are loyal to him. And I love also watching, like they did 1883, which is all about John Dutton's ancestors. And then 1923 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. It's great because it fills in the background. But the only downside is that Kevin Costner wasn't in like the last few episodes because there was a conflict because he was doing that Horizon, an American Tale, whatever it was called.
Oh
movie.
yeah.
So they kind of his storyline got finished very abruptly, and it was a bit of a shame because it kind of just finished very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But overall, John Dutton, he doesn't give a shit. You know, if you're on his land, he's going to come for you and he's going to kill every motherfucker out there that's going to cross his family. Even if it's other members of his family, you know, he will attack them. And it's a great performance from Kevin Costner. He's so good in it. And it's kind of a shame that he's not in it anymore. But there you go. Another one to add to your list, Lucy.
Oh God, that list of mine just never ends.
Oh dear. Right, we've got a couple of honourable mentions from some listeners. Carol Barwick, hello Carol, says, well, I'm pretty much married to Phil Dunphy. Now I'm assuming Phil Dunphy is from Modern Family, I think, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. So well done, Carol. Chris Wellenga says Hal in Malcolm in the Middle. That was Bryan Cranston again.
Another Bryan Cranston, yeah.
Jennifer Lofanov says Chris Wellenga, 100%. Doug Simpson said Mick from Gavin and Stacey.
Yes.
Yes, Kareem Pastor said Martin Crane from Frasier, played by John Mahoney. Callie Kastner said Jack Geller, Friends. Walt Miller, New Girl, Nick's dad. I don't know, maybe two deep cuts. I mean, Jack Geller was Elliot Gould, I think, in Friends. If that's Ross and Rachel's dad. George Bluth Sr., Arrested Development. Definitely Rick Grimes, The Walking Dead, but Shane Walsh should get a dishonorable mention, if you know, you know. And Jim Walsh from 90210. Yeah, I mean, Rick Grimes would be one that you think about, yeah. Adrian Gonzalez says, in no particular order, Al Bundy from Married with Children, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, Phil from the Rugrats, Danny Tanner from Full House, and Master Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Maria Pereira said, this is a twofer, but Ian McElhenney as Granddad Joe, and Tommy Turnan as Jerry from Derry Girls. I've never seen that. I've never seen Derry Girls. Is that good?
Very good.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hilarious.
Another vote for John Mahoney as Martin Crane from Frasier, Ed O'Neill as Al Bundy on Married with Children, Uncle Phil on Fresh Prince, Eliza Friedenberg says Stephen Keaton on Family Ties, Cliff Huxtable as on The Cosby Show, Noel Napora Granny said Homer Simpson, and Jeff Flores says Al Mother Freaking Bundy. So there you go. So there you go, Lucy. We finally did it. TV Fathers in the bag and done. And we got four. That's not bad.
Yeah. I was expecting us to have some kind of crossover because there is the iconic ones, and you know, I knew you were going to say Mando, especially based on what I know about you. I was like, you're going to say it. I know you are.
And to be fair, I'm surprised we both got Jim Hopper, but
yeah, that was a surprise.
That was a good one. And I've got. I think it's been a bit of a quid pro quo. I've got things added to my list. You got things added to your list. So the list is always going to get bigger, Lucy. It's always. There's nothing we can do about it in the jobs that we have here. So what are you up to at the moment, then, Lucy? What have you got in the pipeline in regards to what you're working at?
So this weekend, in typical me fashion, I'm seeing the new Final Destination, which I'm very excited about because I've seen some fantastic reviews about that. So I'll probably be doing a few features next week about that if I enjoy it, and if I don't, you'll probably hear about it as well because I've got opinions. I've also been watching Sirens on Netflix, which is brilliant.
Okay.
It's the new sort of Julianne Moore sort of thriller. Like she's a high-powered businesswoman, and is she a cult? Is she not a cult? It's very like sort of kind of comedy drama. That's good. And yeah, just the usual, really. I mean, at the moment we're just sort of kind of just going into like sort of, you know, summer TV and stuff. But it gets a bit quieter in the summer, actually. You know, autumn is when it really picks up for us. So at the moment, it's just whatever we fancy seeing. And yeah, Final Destination is going to be my next thing because I'm very, very excited.
Good. Well, good luck with that.
Oh, I love them.
And thank you so much for joining us once again.
You. Yeah.
It's always fun to have you on. And it was nice to have something slightly more upbeat than revenge movies and TV deaths.
We had a serious lull with adolescence, but hey, it's a brilliant show. Everyone should watch it. I think it's very essential viewing. So.
It absolutely is. And of course, you can contact Lucy and see what she's on and up to on. I think you're on X. You're on all the social medias, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on X, Instagram. It's just my name, just Lucy Buglass, and you'll find me.
Awesome. I'll put a link in the show notes so people can come and follow you. Obviously, you'll hear Neil's dulcet tones at the end of the episode with all of our information, but you can find it all in the show notes. Just click on if you want to become a Patreon subscriber and come and be a guest on your own episode if you fancy doing that. Everything else, all in the show notes. You'll hear Neil. Thank you once again, Lucy. It's always a pleasure to chat to you. And thank you to everybody else for watching and listening. Now let's go start the countdown.